raised an excellent point. You raised the point of compensation while we're in prison, being cents an hour, cents on the dollar, every hour. But you worked at this place. However much you made there, you still developed a certain level of experience
Absolutely.
in this industry. But when you get out, that experience does you no good. You can't go there. You would think you could go to that place and get a job easily, them knowing that you've been working for them for 17 cents an hour for 10, 12 years. Yeah, but that's not the case though.
Yeah, and I mean it's one of the things when we're talking about the system as a complex, prison industrial complex, and the exploitation of free or cheap labor is why so many people end up going back. It's not because they commit new crimes; it's because they got all these trivial, parole, probation violations, and it's a reason it's a big money industry, and so. To know that these companies, these corporations, some of people's favorite corporations, have used prison labor. Whole Foods, Victoria's Secret. Those people, right?
And who else are some of them? Are they still participating to this day?
I don't know where they at with it now because once people started getting caught out on it, people started kind of shrinking back or paying wages that were considerate. But it's so many of these companies.
So you mean to tell me that guys who haven't even been around no pussy is making lingerie for 17 cents an hour?
Yeah, sometimes it's some of the I don't know exactly what they was making when they were actually invested in it, but sometimes it could be something like the clips or whatever the case may be,
right?
Got
you.
And then sometimes they may be running like the call centers or whatever the case may be. But the crazy thing is like a lot of these companies will not hire a person with a felony when they get out,
right?
And like that's the part that's super problematic. And and these companies they pay a little bit better than like the state pays, right?
Okay.
Like my first gig in the joint, I was getting paid 17 cents an hour, working in the kitchen.
Right.
And then I moved up to. First, I decided that I wasn't doing anything that didn't help the guys in prison. So I began to only do like law library, things like that was helpful. I can really be helpful, and that went up to like $1 something a day.
Okay.
Make like $54 a month. You know what I mean?
Right.
But some of those other jobs may pay like $1 an hour, $1.20 an hour. That's considered a good gig in the joint, but. It's the prison model. The thing about it, I remember when I first learned that they was paying 70 cents, I'm like, I'm going to sue these people. Like, that's my brain straight went there. Like, I'm not working for that. And you're forced to work.
Yeah.
And then I realized that you can't sue because the 13th Amendment
says that you
justifies servitude if you're in prison. And I was like, yo, this is like really slavery. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And our people didn't really know about that until like Ava dropped the 13th, which was a brilliant film.
Absolutely.
That really made that massive connection.
Man, I think another thing that you are very heavy on is self-improvement.
Absolutely.
Self-reflection. Looking in the mirror at your reflection and being honest with who you are, how you got there, and what it takes for you to make the necessary changes to advance. I think that's incredibly important because a lot of our youngsters, man, they really just kind of avoiding criticism.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They just moving through life and they either trying to sweep all their bullshit under the rug instead of dealing with it, allowing it to fester, or they simply just never really have any high level of accountability.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think the lack of accountability allows more heinous, unspeakable things to happen.
Absolutely.
What was the moment, right, that you remember in prison that changed your life? Like, what was the genesis of your transformation?
Yeah, I think there's a series of things. I call them my three miracles. Two of them I talked about, which was having them incredible mentors, brothers who challenged my thinking.
Right.
When I would take those books back to the libraries, the brothers would be like, okay, well, so what happened in chapter 10 on page what? Like they mastered these books, right? And I would sit there and debate with them. I'm like the young cat. I love to debate and talk that talk, right? And these guys were shrewd, man. I'm talking about they were shrewd statisticians and just real strategists And these guys would really just challenge me to think, like, well, what did this person mean in this chapter,
Right.
So that was pivotal for me. And then, of course, the letter from my son, but I also received a letter from the woman who said that she raised a man whose life I'm responsible for taking. And I remember getting that letter, and when I first started reading it, like, I wanted to ball that up. I didn't want to be responsible.
Right.
I was the trigger guy. I was like that, that guy in the hood. And I remember reading those words, and she was like, "Not only do I forgive you, but I love you." And in that moment, I didn't feel worthy of her love or forgiveness.
Right.
And so that was something that I knew that I had to work to understand within myself. And when I got real with myself with the journaling, and I was just like, okay, this is all the shit I have to own.
Right.
This is how I showed up in the world. Like, it was life changing to me. You know what I mean? So now to me, no matter what happens in my life, I'm responsible.
Sure.
And the thing about culturally, of course there's the systemic things. Of course there's racism and all the other things. But no matter what these things are, you still have a choice of how you want to show up for you.
That's right.
And if you're responsible for another life, you're responsible for children. Like, to me, to know that I have forfeited my responsibility as a father, like, I couldn't walk around as a man and feel like a man knowing that I wasn't giving my all to turn it around for him. You know what I'm saying? And we don't have the best relationship to this day, and I had to own that. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's just like being crucified in that fire. You got to put yourself through it. And what I try to impart to the young brothers and young sisters is you got to be around people that honor who you are. Like, all my dudes who are really my friends in the joint, and these are guys I still take care of and still connect with. These brothers challenge me to think differently. They call me out when, like, yo, bro, you want to scrap a dude because he fouls you on the court? Like, that's what we doing. Like, you don't got control of your emotions. Yeah. So it's like all the things that you don't have to typically check in the hood. Like, and you talk about it on the panel, which I was like, this probably went over some people's head because they like, you was like, no, it's some real structure in there, right? Because it's life or death choices.
Absolutely.
But it's also about maturation and what it means to really be a man and a warrior and a king, right? And you can't have that without somebody saying, "Hey, bro, you wilding right now." You know what I'm saying? Like, check that, And sadly, a lot of these guys are super fragile. Like I was watching all the fallout from like the Tekashi cat, right?
Yeah.
And I'm watching this, and I'm like, people are like shocked. But I'm like, yo, the culture is set up where you didn't even have to earn that. Like, I grew up in the streets where you gotta earn your way in the streets. You know what I'm saying? You gotta earn your way in the joint. You don't just get boss level. You don't call shots without putting work in.
That's
you know what I'm saying? Without consulting with the OGs, without them giving you their blessing and really saying, hey, you're the one. You know what I mean? Like, even now, like, I check in with my OGs in the joint out of respect for what they built, what they gave me, you know what I'm saying? Like, that gift that they gave me, the wisdom to discern through the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't call myself a man if I don't reach back to them brothers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Wise men seek wise counsel.
Absolutely.
Still sharp and still.